And today, with our Seasons podcast, I want to discuss the newness of our generation. I want to discuss that of us in our seasons. I want that a generation of people have the opportunity to listen to them required in these seasons, right? To listen to that is your response to where you find yourself at in your season, your opinion with how you are required to respond to your seasons, and you representing you in your seasons. It is that we have so much that we are required to abide to, right? We have so much that we are required to respond to in our seasons, that the requirement for us to listen to us in our seasons is how we are going to represent, right? How we are going to appear in a generation that have found themselves so much through so much challenges, and then they're required to be fine with that they find themselves being challenged with. And therefore, today I want to have us listen to that. And that is the newness of our generation, the representation of our generation, the opportunity for our generation to learn to that. That is that is the you born in that right of representing yourself, right? It is the baby born, and when the baby was born, the baby is born in nakedness, right? And when the baby finds itself in nakedness, the baby's requirement to be fine is that when Rabbi Elise was born in 1983 on 22nd of November, right? So we're celebrating my brother's birthday this month, and we're celebrating our young boy's birthday in this month. We're celebrating the woman, the grandchildren, the woman in our family lines birthdays this month, and then we are celebrating my birthday in the month of November. So the grandchildren, right? The women are all October babies. Most of the women are October babies in our family line, right? The different parts of the year, but most of the women that is the elder grandchildren of Mama Anna, right? The firstborn granddaughters of Mama Anna, they are October babies. The sons are September babies, and then April and then May month also. But then I'm celebrating my birthday in that, and that is my opinion to where our generation finds themselves at. It is that requirement for our generation to allow ourselves to listen to that. And that is not what someone else wants for to be in this. And that is not where someone else wants Mama Anna Philander's children to be. And that is not how someone else has told themselves that this is humanity in general, and Mama Anna's children, according to them, are now not where they are required to be at. It is that every one of humanity forms part of that, and that is the birthness of the universe, forms part of that, that are representing and that are voicing for that, and that is the complete colors of the universe. And therefore, when we listen to households that are finding themselves challenged, households that are finding themselves oppressed, households that are finding themselves abused, we listen to that is required you to respond to your season, and how you feel fine with responding in your season. And therefore, when we're gonna listen to that in our season, we want to have us listen to the way that women decided to represent themselves, right? Was not necessarily to aggress someone else, but it is that our generation has to say that because our generation is so nude, and because the requirement of mankind to accept that this is the woman next to the man, we are required to listen to that is the woman's opinion with where she finds herself at in a season. And therefore, we have been educated to be non-oppressive when we give our opinion. We have been educated to be non-manipulative when we give our opinions. We have been educated in primary school that this is all the colors in a generation, and this is all the colors that mankind has been educated to. And amongst all of the colors, mankind and human beings have different opinions with where they are at in their seasons. And therefore, with the our season representation, we really want to focus today on that is the newness of where generation finds themselves at. When we say that we want to focus on that is new, that has been made familiar, right? It is the baby born and the baby becomes family. It is Rabia born on the 22nd of November, and Mama Anna said that my baby Rabia had a nail string around her neck, right? And Mama Anna said that my firstborn, Mama Anna's firstborn daughter was alive until she was 6 months old. And then the seventh born daughter, baby Rabia Elise, was born with the nail string around the baby's neck. And Mama Anna used to tell me that my nail string was around my neck when I was born. And I have learned to listen to what does that educate me about myself in my season, right? And what does that really speaks about in my season. And I've learned that when life gives you an opportunity, we have mentioned that before, and life gives you the water, and life gives you also the colored drink, right? And life allows you to have the colored drink. Then you have the opportunity of choice, and we're gonna want to focus on the first point on the opportunity of choice. The opportunity of choice, our number one fact on the newness of our generation. It is the requirement for generation to allow ourselves to listen to that's what's happening. But what does Rabia say about Rabia in that is happening? And so often we have been educated as human beings to say what someone else says and to do what someone else requires you to do. And Rabia Elise's business affirm in that and that anyone who communicates information to Rabia Elise's very first response to that is what we educate from in business, it is that will be a least in business has learned that our generation's business owners are finding themselves abreast with one another and they've educated themselves that business means you fight with this one to own a business and to own a seat in business and so therefore you own a seat in a generation. And Rabia Elisa's opinion about that is exactly the newness of representation, the birthright of a business owner to represent themselves and of a human being to represent themselves in their opinion with where they're at, and the right of a generation to find themselves fine when they give their opinion amongst humanity and amongst where they are at. And it is therefore that choice that Rabia cannot say that she's gonna be is as someone else's opinion are different than her. Rabia cannot say that she is going to be depriving to someone else whose business are different than Rabia Elisa's business. But Rabia Elisa's opportunity of choice is that when I react upon someone else's opinion, when I react upon someone else's business, I react exactly with that. And there is none depriving to myself, and there is none depriving to someone else that finds themselves in a generation that are challenged with someone else wanting to overrule humanity in general, then Rabia Elisa's opinion is exactly that there is none depriving and none depressing and none oppressive to Rabia Elisa the person. And that's where, as women, as human beings on this earth, we need to be firm on that. That is, I am not going to allow myself to not be representing myself in my season. It is that I am not gonna allow myself to not be fine with saying that this is my birthright, to be fine with owning my opinion in my season, to say that I am not gonna have myself be oppressed by someone else because of a generation of people that wants to transform humanity, but they are wanting to. That's where my opinion is firm with that way our generation finds themselves having to be oppressed away from being part of mankind. Rabia Elise is firm on her business about that says that I do not require someone else to tell me that they have said it first, and now I'm saying it. That I do not require someone else to silence my word out and my opinion out because of where they find themselves at with representing I do not require someone else to tell me that I was not responding in a way that is fine for them when I find myself in my season today. And when I have to give my opinion in my season, that is my birthright to appear and my birthright to be fine, my birthright to be non oppressive to myself and therefore not to others, and my birthright to be non abusive to where I find myself at in a generation with amazing colors. Having learned that my upbringing was an education that was in an environment where my mama's opinion was that was in line with what the word of God requires of mankind on earth, right? And what when we were educated, that our response as human beings on earth is that the right from wrong in a generation is an opportunity of choice. It is an opportunity that we have been educated that even though it seems like nothing is wrong amongst humanity, and that nothing in the universe can ever be wrong that someone else are doing, and that the different religions and traditions have our opinion that is that nothing was ever wrong about what we are saying or about where we find ourselves at or about someone else's opinion. But what we learn in the different religious groups is that there's a religious group that has been granted humanity, and everyone has got the opportunity of choice to decide what religious group they're going to be part of, what education of mankind, in the requirement for mankind to find themselves in that. That is the right for them in season. There is a protective environment for mankind on earth. There is a non-abusive environment for human beings on earth. And that is that life gives you the opportunity to say that this is another day, and you allow yourself to accept exactly that. And that's what we call Christianity, right? The environment of the spiritual requirement for mankind to learn that is gonna be that we are not gonna oppress one another, we're not going to abuse one another, and the differences in the universe, that some generations of people have been educated and now our generation of people are being educated, that the spirituality of that, and that remains the calmness of mankind, and that remains our representation, and that we find ourselves fine, that everything is fine, but there is that we are not going to be oppressive and abusive the one to the other. And it is that we learn in our season of above. That is our opportunity of choice. That is not a wording and a saying that is threatening, that is not a wording and a saying that is threatening the one to the other, but there is that the universe has given us all the different spirituality educations. And in that education, we all can decide to abide to that. That is the education room that is going to be fine for us in our season. And such is it for business owners. We as business owners all have the right to say that we are fine with where we are educating from, that we find ourselves fine with what we are educating in our season. And that the spirituality of that is where we grow up in a house. And that does not mean that we are not allowed to wear these clothes, and that when we look at someone that wears short clothes, then we are going to be depressed about it. No, we have learned differently. We have educated ourselves differently. Antoinette, my sister, educated herself differently. She still finds it challenging when I really am in that is the newness of my season, and then I educate and give my opinion of my newness in my season. And then she still finds it oppressing because she still finds herself in that. And that is the spirituality of the education room. And whereas Rabia finds herself in that, that is a requirement to accept where I'm at in my season and to give my opinion for that. That is fine for me and for Kiara and for where I find myself at in my season. And therefore, our representation of our nude opinion is not necessarily sometimes to oppress or oppress someone else, but it is the environment around us that are being explained sometimes. It is not that there's people around us that are abusive, no, but we are in a generation where this is nature itself, and the women are required to represent itself, and the king was required to call his queen to the throne, and this queen had to stand sometimes nude in front of him. And such is the universe, and such has mankind been educated. And it is not that you go and be nude on any day that you want to know. Your opportunity of choice is that when they require tell themselves that we are only going to dress ourselves like this, and someone else educated mankind differently and said, but there's all of these requirements in the universe, and there's all of these requirements for mankind on earth to abide to and to respond to in the season that they find themselves at. And that is where we say that when someone is not difficult, and when someone didn't grow up oppressive, and when someone is now really not abusive the one to the other, and they represent their nude opinion in a generation, that is sometimes not only dressed nudely, no, but there is sometimes an opinion that is direct and firm, and then we learn to listen to that, and that is the you required in your season. And that is where we want to be at with our opportunity of choice point one, and the you required in your season. Last week we started with the us required. This week we are on the selfness of that. That is the you representation, the Rabia Elise representation required in a season. When we started with the us required, we learned to focus on that we are gonna firmly listen to someone else telling us this and requiring this from us. And when we respond to someone else requiring us to respond, the opportunity of choice that we educate ourselves in that environment is that you representing yourself in your own opinion. When someone else gives an opinion about you, or gives a request for you to respond to where they are at in the seasons, then Rabia Elise educates and say that your opportunity of choice is how are you going to respond to you in your season. When you listen to how Rabia Elise is going to respond to Rabia Elise when she finds herself in an environment that might be challenging, then you learn to how you are going to respond to someone else. And when we learn how you respond to someone else affects how our generation seasons are. And it affects the blossomingness that we said that the yellow tree that normally blossoms a yellow blossom didn't blossom a yellow blossom this year. And it can be for any reason. Someone might have sprayed the tree. We've also learned that the blossomingness might be something in the atmosphere. And there's different reasons why the response of you and you listening to your different requirements in season is your direct opinion on where you are required to respond at, rather than educates himself. This business on the first, that business on the second, that business on the last, and Rabia Elise we don't listen to, right? And such is the word in our generation currently. And we are not saying that it is not fine for them to give their opinion on who they want to listen to. It is that our generation finds themselves oppressed, in poverty, abused, in war. Countries find themselves having a jolly time, and other countries find themselves being so much abused and oppressed, while other business owners want to be the ones leading the discussion room. And then you look at a generation that leave half of them outside so that the world can look like that. When we look at the women that parents in our generation, we look at a group of women that sit and look at Rabia Elise's videos, and they exactly tell themselves that they want to manage the house, that they want to manage the world. And you look at so many women out there that can also represent, that are maybe also the Rabia Elises on earth, that are maybe also having an opinion, but they are being oppressed out, and they are being deprived out, and they are being silenced out because some women feel that they are the representative of leader in a generation. And it is in such a generation that the direct requirement for a generation to respond to that is fine is that we tell ourselves that your opportunity of choice is that you respond to that is you required in your season. That is not someone else requesting you and affirming you and telling a vote. Be in this saying that where I directly find myself at my opinion is this, and my opinion has been granted that the force of this universe said, make social media available for all of humanity in every country so that everyone's opinion can be that when we look at the seasons, we say that this is taking hand approach, but then when we take hands, we do not take hands with that is disruptive or destructive or abusive the one to the other. And therefore, opportunity of choice is that women like Rabia Elise, like the AWOKH Business that represents in season, are not going to be quieted out because a group of women want to manage the world in a halfway process, and that half of the world is left out, half of the world opinions are not listened to, half of the world find black people of this world, and today black is not black in color anymore, but black is a requirement for someone else to appear, and then for someone else to say that this is what they have to say in their season. And therefore, when a generation of people are gonna not allow themselves to oppressed out and to be silenced out and to be told your business is not fine and your opinion is not fine, then a generation of women are required to respond exactly how a AWOKH Business is responding in season. In a generation of women find themselves in that will be at least called our point number 3 of today. That is our walk, our talk, and our attitude with representing ourselves. We are educating on your walk, your talk, your attitude a lot on our fashion, about fashion book. And our about fashion book are not a fashionist that finds themselves in Italy, Milan. It's not L'Oreal Paris that are giving an opinion on fashion. It is Rabia Elisa's opinion on fashion. And for people that find themselves so often having been educated to silence people out, that when Rabia Elisa's fashion appear under then they're so often to disregarding other people that they find themselves going to Rabia Elisa's post only to once again disregard someone else in this world. And on that, we say that Rabia Elisa's fashion opinion is exactly that. That is fashion. Fashion is exactly your opinion on where you find yourself at in your season. And you exactly do that and educate that amazingly. It is Rabia Elisa's walk in that, in her own season, is what we call, when you look at that photo, the AWOKH photo, business photo, and the AWOKH fashion photo, then we say that exactly is her walk, it is her talk, it is her exact character of representing her own opinion. And we're closing this podcast today with the amazing weather and the amazing season that we are at. Because next week we're gonna continue on this also, and gonna continue on the traditional backgrounds. We said it last week, but this week, podcast is that is open to you and your opinion. So your opinion today is exactly that. You don't go and prepare yourself necessarily for a podcast. No, your podcast is that is your opinion, that is nature itself, that is your birth itself, that is the womb itself talking, and that finds itself in that is non-depriving to the womb. When you listen to other people's opinions about you and you take on that, then Rabia Lee says, then I'm so transformed that my walk and my attitude, some people just want to come and cloth you, and some people actually educates that, my sister. And Antoinette says, this is the hair weave, this is Antoinette the person, this is the amazing glasses, this is the character. And some people give their opinion, and Antoinette decides for herself how to represent with that someone else says. Antoinette dressed this was Antoinette, that's an amazing outfit, Antoinette will love that outfit. And then Antoinette decides, and the person Antoinette finds themselves representing that is Antoinette in a season. And not many women find themselves keeping ownership of themselves. Many women in the has learned on social media to be are transformed when they have the hair weave on, and when they have the makeup on, and when they have the nails on. It's a totally different person. But your walk, your walk, your talk, and your attitude is exactly that. That is protective and fine for you, and that is owning you in your season. That requires you respond in your season, and the you that doesn't allow yourself to be abused with someone else that wants to dress you. It is amazing to allow everyone to dress us. It is amazing to allow everyone to give their opinion about us. It is amazing for everyone to tell Rabia that the AWOKH Business should be only professional, and Rabia should only dress in this way, and Rabia's motivational talk should only look like this. But Rabia in Lee's is the you required in your season. And you hold on to that and you don't let go of that attitude and you allow yourself to be fine throughout seasons. And that's the amazingness of the spring season and of every season that we as human beings and as the universe itself blossoms in being part of the amazingness of a generation and of the universe. And that is it for us today, everyone, and for our discussion today, and for where we find ourselves at what our seasons podcast with Rabia Elise. Have an amazing day further.